I've been a night shift nurse at St. Jude's Old North Wing for 3 years now. It's the kind of place where the walls have stories, and not all of them are good. Everyone who works here knows the unspoken rule: room 104 doesn't exist. Officially, the hallway ends at room 103, but we all know that's a lie. I've seen it myself. After midnight, a door just materializes at the end of the hall. Plain, wooden with the numbers 104 tarnished and barely visible. We just ignore it, pretend it isn't there. One night, Mrs. Gable in 102 pressed her call button. She was a sweet, frail old woman, usually quiet. When I went in, she was sitting bolt upright in bed, her eyes wide with terror. She grabbed my wrist, and her grip was shockingly strong. "Don't go into 104, she whispered, her voice raspy. "She's waiting for you." The fear in her eyes was real. It was primal. Mrs. Gable passed away later that night. The official cause was heart failure, but I know what she saw. A few weeks passed, and things were quiet until last night. I was doing my rounds, the silence of the hospital punctuated only by the hum of the machines. Then I heard it, crying. It wasn't the sound of an adult in pain. It was a baby. It was coming from the end of the hall. My instincts as a nurse kicked in. I couldn't just ignore a crying baby. As I got closer, I saw it. The door to room 104 was slightly ajar. A sliver of darkness beckoned me. Against every rational thought, I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The air was cold and it smelled of rust and decay. The room wasn't a patient room. It was filled with old, rusty cribs, dozens of them lined up in neat rows. And in each crib, under a thin, yellowed blanket, something was moving. But the shapes were all wrong. They weren't babies. They were too sharp, too many angles, shifting and contorting in unnatural ways. At the far end of the room, a woman stood with her back to me. She wore a stained white dress, and her long black hair cascaded all the way down to the floor. Without turning, she spoke, her voice like grinding stones. Finally, she said, "You've come to meet my children." Then she slowly turned around. Her face was a horrific tapestry of scars, with a jagged smile stitched across her lips from ear to ear. But her face wasn't the worst part. Her belly... Her hospital gown was torn open, and her abdomen was gaping raw. And inside the cavity, I could see things writhing, moving. The next thing I remember is waking up in my car in the hospital parking lot, the sun just beginning to rise. 6 hours had vanished. I checked my phone, my hands trembling. When I got home and undressed for a shower, I saw them. Tiny, finger-like bruises all over my arms, my legs, my stomach. Like I'd been held or grabbed by hundreds of little hands. And now, sometimes, when it's quiet, I feel something moving inside me. Something that isn't mine. Thanks for listening.